Welcome, all you wonderful people. I'm so glad you popped in today. Thank you so much for coming in. If you're new here, welcome. We're glad to have you here. If you're returning, thank you so much. You are the breath of life. You are what's keeping me going. I truly appreciate you. If you like what you see and you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, or comment down below, or all of them. We'll take it whatever we can get. Beggars can't be choosers. Anyway, today we are making some Santa boots and a little wagon full of gingerbread men. And all the products are pretty cheap and they're pretty easy to make. So with that, let's get going. We are going to start with the crate that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I am going to be painting it bright red. And I'm using a thicker brush, a fatter brush, because it holds more paint and I thought it would go a lot faster. And I'm doing one coat on the inside and two coats on the outside. Once I get this painted, I will be taking some wheels that I got off of Amazon many years ago, and then I paint them red as well as my fingers. I mean, why not? If you're going to paint you might as well match, right? So I'm painting them red. And then I got on Pinterest. I found some little clip arts of peppermint candies and I took them, I cut them out, I put them on some little thin cardboard paper. It's probably a little thicker than cardstock, but it wasn't too thick. And I'm just putting them on them wheels for hubcaps. I end up going and getting some clamps to clamp them down, but or putting clamps on them to hold them down. I don't know why I didn't use my um, hot glue gun. I was sitting there watching this and wondering, why didn't I just glue them with a hot glue gun? I also took a little dowel and I put it, cut it down to the size I wanted for my little pull, the things you pull the wagons with, and I ended up repainting it white and using ribbon on it, but I lost part of my recording, so I took some white poofy paint and went around the edges of this little wagon and I glued my tires on with E6000 and then I'm painting some little popsicle sticks. Right here I am taking some pipe cleaner, some white and red pipe cleaner. I am twisting it around each other and I am going to roll it into look kind of like a little peppermint candy. And I'm just kind of going back and kind of gluing it in places just to keep it from falling apart. Anyway, I took a popsicle stick, cut them in half, painted them red on both sides, and then I will glue that to the bottom of the wagon. On, and I'm so mad that that the part where I put the poofy paint and the wheels and everything on, I'm so mad that it got um, lost or whatever. And so I glue some sticks onto these little peppermint candies. I made two of them, painted the sticks white. They're little skewers. And then I took this little, I had a little ball that I've had forever and ever. I don't even know where I got them. I think I ordered them somewhere. And I glued it to the top of my little handle. And now I am gluing these little gingerbreads. Again, I just clip art and glued them onto some cardboard. And these were all free too. I will try and leave the link below. And then I put a little bit of masking tape on it just to kind of hold it in place a little bit and to help give it a little support. And now I am taking and painting another white skewer. Oh, these are for the little gingerbread men because I have four of them, two girls and two boys. Now I'm taking and I put some, this is part that got messed up too, but I just added a foam, some styrofoam in the bottom, added some greenery. I placed my little gingerbread in there, gingerbread man, and my little peppermint candies, and I'm just making bowls for the little peppermint candies. Right here, I'm just trying to, there's a couple places that have, that are a little bit of, they're just a little bare, and so I was putting them on. Now I'm going to glue this handle onto the little popsicle sticks we glued on, and then I'm going to also glue it to the wagon at the top. Okay, now I'm going to take some cardboard, that thin cardboard, and I'm going to cut it out to make a little sign. I'm going to paint it with a little bit of apple barrels nutmeg, my go-to for everything, brown. Okay, after that dries, then I add it to some, I glue it onto some heavier cardboard, and then I write on it with pencil first, warm wishes, warm Christmas wishes, and candy cane kisses. And then I take my white paint, acrylic paint with my liner brush, and I copy those letters. Now I didn't get them perfect, and I'm going to show you how to fix them without too much of a headache. If this isn't flowing very good, you can add a little bit of water to make it flow a little bit better. You want it about the consistency of ink, but you do not want it to run. And if you're not getting very smooth and easy flow to it, you do need to add a little bit of water. But if you do get it too runny, it'll just run down your paper or sign or whatever project you're working on. But it does make it go a little easier if you do add a little bit. And then I'm just, because I did add a little bit of water, there are some places that are just a little bit dull and translucent, so I'm going to add some. Now, right here I'm taking some nutmeg and I'm taking a dowel, or not a dowel, a skewer. I'm using the pointy end and I'm just using little dots between like my S's. I never can do S's very good when I paint, to correct all my little mistakes. If I think I did an in the and there was no space at the top part of it, so I just am putting little dots, but you kind of can't see it because my hand's in the way, and but that's all I'm doing is just using little dots to fix anything that I didn't really like. And you don't usually screw them up this way too bad, because if you're just using little teeny dots, that skewer's not very big and you can usually fix things up. And then I do take my white and go over some places that I felt needed it. And after I got them, the dots and the openings and everything with the nutmeg, then sometimes I found that, my letters was it needed a little adjusting. So this is what I am doing right here. But I'm still doing it with the skewer and the little pointy end. Again, this says warm Christmas wishes and candy cane kisses. After this dries, I just stick a skewer in and put it in my little wagon. Okay, now I lost this footage too. It really makes me mad. I did a, what is it called? Anyway, I took some paper, I took a little balloon, and I took some paper and Mod Podged and glued that on. Did several layers, and then I cut, or I did several layers. When I got it to be as thick as I wanted, and as, after it dried, it took almost a day, at least 12 hours or so to dry. And then when it got dry enough, I cut the end of that off. Now when I was gluing it, I realized I had a space, so I'm taking some tape, masking tape, and I'm just going around the part that had a hole in it. It's okay because you're not going to see this part when we get it done. Okay, now I'm taking, I took it outside and I painted it with a flat spray paint from Rust-Oleum, and I took a pattern of a little gingerbread man and made a copy on the cardboard, cut it out. And now I'm doing a girl and a boy, and I'm painting them nutmeg. On the fronts and the backs. And then I'm drying it to save some time because I had a short time to finish these and to get this video up and going. So I did dry it, hurry and dried it to speed things up, and then I did the back sides of them. I only did one coat. Then after I get these dried, I take the little girl and I draw a little skirt, and I do it with the red, bright red, and I'm just using a little small brush. It's not really a liner, but it's pretty small. And I end up doing 2 or 3 coats on the dress, on the skirt part. Then I'm taking some white and I'm doing the little blouse on the top of her dress. And I think I only did one coat of that. And then I'm making a little vest, and if you don't know how to make a vest, on the bottom you make a W, on the top you make an M. And then you just fill it in and make sure your M and your W thingies points are the same, are even. And I end up doing 2 or 3 coats of that green. That's spring green from Apple Barrel. Now I'm highlighting in the little gingerbread. I'm taking a little golden, or it's not gold desert or golden sunset or desert sunset. No, golden sunset. It's not that. It's a yellow goldish color. It's a little darker than what I like, and it didn't work quite as well, but it did work at the end. Then I added a little bit of white, and I wanted my shading to still be kind of dark, so I took some nutmeg, went around the edges, and then I just kind of went over it lightly to kind of tone down all the white that was in there. And I'm just going over again around the edges, and then I just take a little bit. After I go around the edges, I just kind of brush what's left across. I'm doing that on both sides. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to go around her head and then just take the excess that might be there. And I actually added a little bit of yellow to that just to kind of give it a more gingerbread look. And then I'm doing the same thing with the boy, and I got too much white and yellow, but that's okay. We end up going over it and it works out at the end. You know what they say, everything comes out in the laundry or whatever, well, in the wash, but it's kind of like that. We paint until we get it right. And so I'm just going over now with nutmeg, kind of going around the sides, the edges to kind of do shading like, and then I will end up taking the leftover paint and going over after I go around the edges and just kind of use it. Okay, I do the same thing. I do a little, I put a little bit of white and yellow together on this one. And then I go over it with, do the edges and then go around, and then brush the excess over the rest. And on that one, I'm kind of going over around because I wanted more shading because it was still kind of light. Okay, now that I got that done, I'm going to go over and paint the vest again because it needed it. And that's spring green. Now I'm making some little ruffles or pleats, I guess. And on the top part of our ruffle or whatever, or pleats, it's going to be lighter. And in the middle, in the bottom where it's the lowest, it's going to be the darker color. And I'm using a true blue um, for that kind of shading. But I do take some red and go over it so it's not so bold. And I'll just blend it in until I get it where I want it. And I'm just using, now I'm going over it with white, the part where I want to be the top part of her pleats. And I'm just going to keep going over that until I get it where I want it. I'm using red actually at this point to go over them little pleats. Okay, now I'm taking a little bit of that yellow golden sunset, and I'm just kind of making a shadow underneath the collar and around the edges of her dress, the top part. And then I'm not really good at um, the floating, so I went over it again with a little bit of white, and then I did a little bit more white on my pleats. Now I'm taking some arbor green and I am just going around the edges, making a little shade and down the middle of that. And then of course I do another coat of the spring green and just kind of even it out and tone it down. Now I'm just taking a skewer on the flat side and I'm going to make some eyes and a nose. Then I'm going to take the skewer on the pointy side and draw on a mouth. Okay, and then when I'm doing the little curvy lines like the frosting lines on her, I'm taking and I'm just using dots. I'm doing the little curvy thing, but I'm just doing little dots. So I can get a really teeny tiny, I have control over it that way, and then it just looks teeny tiny, like delicate little dots or little squirrely lines, squiggly lines. And now I'm just going around her face. And I'm just doing little dots. And I'm doing the same thing with the boy. I'm taking the flat side, doing his eyes and the nose. And then I'm going to take um, the pointy edge and make a smile as base. And then I'm going to do the little polka dots, doing the little squiggly lines. Going in little squiggly lines and doing little polka dots. You can get them on really nice and thin and neat that way. Okay, then I'm going to go around his face, doing the little squiggly lines, but I'm just doing it in polka dots. Little teeny tiny dots. And the dots will kind of move together so it'll look like one straight line when you get it done. Or one squiggly line, I should say. But it's very thin and neat. Okay, now I'm going to set them and let them dry. Oh, actually, no. I took some white, the white and the red, and I made a little pink. And I'm taking my little liner brush and I am brushing on some little cheeks for the girl and the boy. Okay, now I'm taking my skewer. I'm taking the pointy line and I'm doing little dots. I'm making the eyes, but I'm just doing the little dots still to make my little eyes. Okay, then while I'm waiting for, I thought I cut this out. Oh my heck, I'm an idiot. This is what happens when I try to do too much at one time. Okay, I went to get my boot. That's where I went. Because it's dry now, but I'm waiting for my glue gun to get hot. So I'm taking and cutting out some little, well, actually, right now I'm cutting out a little tie, and then I'm adding a little button, and then I'm going to add another little button to his vest. But I got that one upside down, so I had to pull it off, clean it up, and put it back down. Okay, now with her, I'm taking a little ribbon, I'm folding it in half and gluing it, and then I'm going to take it across between her skirt and the top part of her dress. Okay, then I'm taking a little green ribbon I'm making a little shoestring bow. And then I'm going to glue that on. And then I glue a little teeny button on there too. Okay, now, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I took this black ribbon, black and white ribbon, and I ran it around my hand about 6 times. And then I wrapped it around my hand about 6 times. Then I took some white string and tied it really tight, and I cut part way in on each side. I didn't do it completely across, but I cut a little bit on each side of the rolls of ribbon, and then I am just pulling them apart and fluffing them out, and you get a big poofy ribbon that way. Then I glued it on, and now I'm taking my this is just fabric, what is it, quilting I don't know, stuffing, fiberfill or whatever. I don't know. I could just call it batting. And I'm taking a little bit of top and I'm going to glue it around the inside after I glue it on. Then I'm going to take some flowers and some greeneries and stuff, but I'm kind of getting to the end of my stash. I gotta go to the, or I gotta go get some more, but it's been kind of sparse. Christmas has been kind of sparse. So hopefully that'll come out. And I put this little flocked flowers or leaf on the edge, to kind of cover up that little part I told you. But the flocking part made it kind of hard to glue, but it did end up gluing. And then I took some little berries, them little foam berries, and I um, am putting them down alongside of the leaf. And then on the other side of the leaf, I am going to take a pine cone and I'm going to glue that on as well. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, only this side I wised up a little bit. I made sure I put it on the glue on the side that didn't have the flocking. Then I take my little berries and I take them down the side. And then I get another little pine cone and glue it on the side. And then I get a little, okay, I'm gluing my little gingerbread onto the skewers, but I took my marker, I decided to take my magic marker, my Sharpie, and outline it and go around. And then I took a pen and just went around the inside like the collar of or the and the vest. I didn't want the big thick lines, so I just used a regular pen. And then I just put a styrofoam ball because it's the only thing I had at the time. And then I'm using some foliage, but to be honest with you, when I get to the store and can find some more Christmas foliage, I probably will rearrange this. But you'll still get an idea of what we're doing here and what you want to do yourself. I'm just sticking some of those berries or whatever they are in. And then I did add some little ornaments in there. This is the final review, and There's our little wagon with our little gingerbread man and our little boots with gingerbread man. Thank you so much for popping in today and coming and seeing us. I hope you enjoyed what you seen. I hope it inspires you to make something really great. And have a good day. Enjoy yourself. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please come back again. We like having you. And I hope you're inspired to make something sweet, whether it's edible or not.